But I am very, 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 very grateful to be with all of you. I've been thinking about being together ever since Monday
Mm.
night, where it was just so, so nice to be together in a room full of people lighting candles. It's just like, this is the best of SVIVAH for me. I love celebrating holidays together. Please, while I'm talking, make yourselves comfortable. If you have candles, great. If not, no worries. We've got them. I'm Ariella Morkowitz, the founding director of SVIVAH. Beautiful new faces here tonight. Thank you for lighting up our night. Stay till the end and introduce yourself if you're up for it. I promise I won't run off. SVIVAH is about revolutionizing the way that women come together in community and using Jewish community to empower women as individual change makers in our own lives and in the world, discovering and exploring the unique and beautiful Torah that comes from our lived experience. We define both Jewish and women very broadly. If you want to be with us, we want you with us and welcome. We love that we are multi-generational and diverse in our backgrounds and affiliations, and we come together in celebration and support of women, our strengths, our unique perspectives, and our ways of impacting the world. The world is a disaster. And in this moment, in my little Zoom box and all of yours, it is light, it is celebration. And tonight we are celebrating each other and the beautiful women that we know and love. So I am going to choose to stay very focused on my little box and all of yours so that I can be here and absorb the light and the joy of our amazing teachers and Dahlia and Jordan and each one of you. Okay, that's you heard it here. Tonight we are celebrating Hag HaBanot. We are going to hear more about it from the amazing Rabbanit Victoria Sutton. I am not going to talk about it because she knows more about it than I do. I will say that tonight is not the actual Hag HaBanot. That's going to happen later this week, but for scheduling purposes, tonight we're going to learn all about it so that we can celebrate it later. But Hag HaBanot is totally my favorite night of Hanukkah ever since I learned about this whole idea of having this North African Sephardic Mizrahi holiday that just celebrates women, celebrating why women are awesome and why we love being in community with other women and celebrating the women who make our lives better. For me, this is like the epitome of what SVIVAH is. And so I just love everything about it. And I'm so grateful to have another layer of an excuse to just lean into why women are wonderful and the women who make ourselves beautiful and special and fantastic and bring everything that is good into the world for us. What I want to also do is take a second to say an enormous thank you. Tonight's gathering is all about celebrating women, and I want to thank a few special women who sponsored tonight in honor and in memory of women who are special to them. First, Misha and Riel, thank you so much for making tonight and calling in the beautiful spirits of Francis and Greta. I'm going to read what you both wrote because this is so beautiful. We would love to sponsor and honor our stepmother, Frances. She has experienced great losses in her life, and she has chosen to let it make her softer rather than hard. We admire and respect her for this and are grateful for the role modeling she has provided. Also, we would love to sponsor our mother and to honor her. Her name is Greta. She is a very private person, and we're protective of that. But she is known in the Holocaust survivor community as a hidden child. And at 1 year of age, she was separated from her parents and sisters for a large part of her childhood. She is one of the strongest, most independent, most free-thinking, and open-minded people we know. She is someone whose capabilities were outstanding in her younger years. She could figure out electrical wiring issues in the house, make an incubator for a featherless baby bird and nurture it until it was ready to fly away, create gourmet meals, and stay informed and well-read on most topics. So much about her is an inspiration, and we want to honor her. I love hearing about the ways that women affect our lives. And I'm hoping that all of you are sharing important women in the chat while I'm talking. Katie, thank you so much for bringing in Daniela Tzilla Bat Esther, your dear friend and chosen family, a fierce feminist and passionate Zionist who believed in prayer, song, and therapy, living where holy rebellion meets wayward tradition. She loved fiercely, lived wildly, and taught you what it means to be an unconditional friend. In her memory, let this also be a reminder to get tested for BRCA testing if you are of Ashkenazi heritage with a family history of cancer, and to look into Sharsheret, one of our wonderful partners in the past, for more details. And I think the link will be in the chat. Thank you so much, Katie. And I'm so sorry. She sounds like somebody who we would all have loved to know. And Allison, thank you so much for bringing in Victoria, who is a dear friend of yours in Berkeley for several years, who you treasured, and you treasured the memory of your times together. Thank you so much for sponsoring tonight in their honor and memory, and bringing these fabulous women into this space. I am so grateful and hoping that you're going to tell us where you're zooming from tonight in the chat, and a woman who has made an impact in your life, similar to these amazing women. I'm going to call in my Turkish aunt, Yildiz, whose family is wildly differently from my very, very Ashkenormative family. And also another amazing Moroccan Sephardic woman who is familiar to our SVIVAH community, Dr. Gila Ben Shamal, who has taught me so much. I know she's taught all of us, but I get the privilege of hanging out with her even more than you do behind the scenes. And she has been an absolute gift of a teacher to me. So I'm very grateful to both of them. I am this crazy Ashkenazi lady who is totally in love with every opportunity to learn what I can about Sephardic and Mizrahi culture. There are so many aspects of our global Judaism that I feel like are a void, that I am missing information about. And every time I have an opportunity to learn about Sephardic culture, to learn more about Jews from different places than I come from around the world, it just strengthens for me what it means to be Jewish. And I know all of us have been paying attention to the news of the Australian Jewish community. That, again, for me is another example of another community who does Jewish similar and differently, and it makes my world and my people both big and small, and it gives me so much strength. So I am so glad to have a space tonight to learn about a culture that for me is different, but I'm excited to see if there are people here who come from Sephardic backgrounds, from North African backgrounds, and want to share more of your own tradition and the people who you are calling in tonight. I'm so excited to learn from and with all of you. Thank you, Dahlia, for creating this space tonight, and I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you so much. So, like Ariella, I also am from an entirely Ashkenazi background, and I'm so excited to learn tonight more about Hag HaBanot and more about Sephardi and Mizrahi Judaism. And I'm so inspired by, I've been reading the chat and seeing all the women that you've been mentioning, and it's so beautiful. I've seen many people mention their mothers and grandmothers. Some people who have lost their mothers recently, our hearts are with you, and we're sending you love and comfort. And I've seen people also mention relatives who survived the Holocaust, and it's just so inspiring. So read the chat as you go, and don't forget to notice all these amazing women being mentioned in the chat. I also want to share a woman that I truly admire. She's a woman of Yemenite descent, and she is the most remarkable teacher in the world. She is a teacher in the school that I work at, and she was my daughter's teacher for many years, and she teaches Hebrew, but she loves to teach in a way that I have never seen and that I truly admire. And she teaches middle schoolers. And she always says, whenever you give her a compliment and say, wow, you're such an amazing teacher, she always uses this phrase that I'm going to say it in English, but it sounds better in Hebrew. She always says, more than somebody wants to drink the milk of the cow wants to give its milk. And that is her essence of this desire to give. And so her name is Batsheva, and I truly admire her. And yes, thank you. So I also want to go back to something Ariella mentioned before, which is that we're thinking very much and we're davening and praying for the Jews in Australia. In our gathering on Monday, we actually took some time and said a special Misha Berach for them and read all of the names of those who were injured and in need of healing. And we're going to, as we learn tonight, we can dedicate our learning in the memory of those who were lost, and also in the hope that those who need healing will receive that healing, whether it's physical healing or spiritual or emotional, whatever they need, that our learning should lift up more good for them. And we also mentioned on Monday, and I'll say it again also tonight, that we also want to learn, as we're carrying in our heart Ron Gvili, who is the last hostage whose body is still being held in Gaza. And we hope and pray that this should be the last day where that is true, and his family should find comfort and be able to have him brought back to Israel. And I also have to share with you something truly incredible and beautiful that Ariella taught me earlier today. So either raise your hands or put in the chat if the custom I'm about to mention is something familiar to you. So she told me that there are some people who put a petak, a little piece of paper, either under their Chanukiah, under their menorah, or that some even there's menorahs that have a slit at the bottom that you could put a little note underneath with a wish or something that you'd like to daven for, something you'd like to pray for. Is anybody familiar with this custom? If you are, put it in. Oh, I see a hand from Beverly. Okay, so I'd never heard of this before. It's so beautiful. This is new to me. Thank you, Misha. Yeah, so I was just so inspired by this, and I'll tell you the context in which she mentioned it. She told me that Omer Shem Tov's mother, Shelley, Omer Shem Tov is one of the hostages that came back alive, thank God. She was like last Hanukkah, people were putting these notes in their menorahs. And this year, they've been sending her pictures of the notes that they wrote last year saying, we just hope and pray that Omer will come home. And now he is. And it's this beautiful miracle. And so that's just another new tradition that I learned about and that I find to be gorgeous. And I'm excited to share it with you. And tonight we're going to learn about other customs that might be new to us and other beautiful pieces of Judaism and Hanukkah. And we're going to learn them from an incredible teacher, Rabbanit Victoria. we're going to put her full bio in the chat, but I want to share a few pieces of Rabbanit Victoria Sutton's bio. So she's a teacher, the Limudei Kodesh teacher at Heschel Middle School. She also serves as the director for the teen program for the Drisha Institute. She's working on a book on Sephardic women's practice, which looks incredible. And she went to Barnard, and she worked in Berkeley, California, where I got to live, but before, so we never got to live there at the same time. But I discovered, along with Ariella, the most unique and such a cool piece of her bio, which is that you went to French culinary school. We did not know that. That is truly amazing. And if you're open to it, at any point in your talk and your teaching, if you'd like to throw out any recipes or any good food suggestions, particularly from Mizrahi culture, we are all ears and we're always happy to eat something delicious. So thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to learn from you tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. And I'm really just blown away by all the love I'm already seeing in the chat and everybody just sharing women in their lives that inspire them. I am continually inspired by this space that SVIVAH creates. Ariel, the space that you and Dahlia and the team just like, and Rabbanit Eliza, who I know is not on. It's just really such a warm and powerful space. So thank you for inviting me. It's really lighting up my Hanukkah already. So I'm going to share a little piece of Torah, and then we'll light the candles, and then I'll share some customs that are more common on Eid al-Benat or Hag HaBanot after the lighting of the candles. I just want to put it so that I could see everybody. I don't want to see myself. Okay, much better. So as we know, Hanukkah is the holiday of miracle of light. And this miracle of light that we share with each other. And there's a really famous Jewish question, which I think is very particularly Jewish, that we have like really famous questions that we like to ask. So a really famous question that we like to ask about Hanukkah is that this miracle of the light of the oil, that we're celebrating that it lasted for 7 days beyond what we thought it would last. And this very traditional question that's asked is, well, so if the miraculous part was 7 days, why do we celebrate for 8 days? What is the miracle of the first day? So it's a very classic question. I see some people nodding, and it's quite likely you've heard answers to this question. I was reading, and I highly recommend in thinking about Sephardic scholarship, the Chida. So the Chida is Rabbi Chaim David Azulai. He lived in the 1700s. Really fascinating person who really wrote about everything, halacha, Kabbalah, holidays. Really incredible. His life was really interesting. He was from Jerusalem in the Ottoman Empire, and he was so incredible that he was chosen to be the Shadar, or the rabbinic emissary. So he traveled for 5 years at a time across the Jewish world, and he still found time to be extremely prolific and write. And he answers this question, and he says that actually the temple had been completely undone and was not functional. And then they went back, and yes, they lit the menorah, but then they went to the altar because they wanted to start redoing the service, and there was no fire. And they cried out to God, and this flame came down, right? This esh came down and continued. And he said, that's really the miracle of the first day, is this fire that the people were yearning for that lit on the Mizbeach. He has this fun gematria. It's a very common thing that a lot of Sephardic rabbis like to bring, that the word menorah is, gematria is the same as esh, right? This menorah, this miracle of the parallel to the light of the menorah, was also this light of the altar. But something that he points out, and that I keep thinking about, and that I want to share, and maybe we'll have this as a kavanah for our lighting, is that as powerful as the light of the menorah is, both in the time of the Maccabees and this moment that we share now, that we're going to light candles together as a community, that miracle is fleeting. Right? It lasted for 7 days, and then life went back to normal. Things went back to regular operating business, right? That miracle didn't really last. And something that he notes is that the fire that they called out for, that came down on the altar, did last. That fire continued for several centuries and enabled them to keep doing this holy service and connecting with God in this way. And that's really what we're celebrating on Hanukkah. That spark that came down, this esh tamid, this eternal flame. And when the Torah speaks about it, it says esh tamid lo yichabeh, right? If you can get a spark that starts an eternal flame, if you can get something started, it won't go out. It will continue on and on and on. And I want us to think about as a kavanah, we're going to light the candles together in a moment, and I'll share some Sephardic customs about that. And more after we light the candles. But a kavanah, you really shared some beautiful ideas in the chat about women, and we're going to keep them in mind as well. But a kavanah that I would think about, maybe as we're lighting the candle, is what are those sparks really for you? What are those sparks that can then kindle something that will last beyond these 8 days of Hanukkah, right? Maybe this space, right, is one of those sparks. We can maybe think of other sparks, either in our own personal spiritual lives, in our communal lives, between friends, between family members, right? What are those sparks of light, just like the light of the Mizbeach that the Chida speaks about, that can really set off that eternal, that flame that will keep us going? If we think about Hanukkah, it's in the middle of these very dark days of winter, and also in this very time when our spiritual batteries, not only with everything amplified with everything that's been going on in the world, but even in a normal, relatively good year. It's at a time when we really need that recharge, right? High holidays are way behind us. Purim and Pesach and the joy and the frenzy are months away, right? We have this big monotonous lull, and Hanukkah really comes to light that spark of holiness that will hopefully keep us going. So that's something that I have a goal for tonight, for us to think about how we're going to do that. So I'm going to just share some customs right before we light, so you can get your menorah Chanukiah ready, and then we'll light together. So a few different customs that I'm going to share is that in a lot of Sephardic households, there's one menorah really for the whole family, that men, women, children, everybody lights the same menorah. They take turns lighting candles instead of everybody having their own. It's sort of like one communal experience that everybody shares for the household. Another custom is that, and you'll see when I light that I'll do this, so I'll just explain it, is that actually we say the mitzvah blessing before lighting and then start saying the other brachot as we're lighting. There are some deep Kabbalistic roots to this custom, right? Kabbalah is a very important formative factor in many communities, but it's also mentioned in some of the earliest sources that when we say the bracha she'asa nisim, of like one who made miracles, and we say al hanisim, that it kind of makes sense that we would say those in the presence of the light that has already been lit, and we can appreciate that light when we say those. So that's behind that custom. Another particular custom just to the Aleppo Jewish community that some families still do, is that our family doesn't do this particular custom, but I thought it was important to share, is that they add an extra candle every single night. That the Jews, there were Jews in Aleppo for many thousands of years, but actually there was a community that was expelled from the Inquisition from Spain and then ended up after several stops in Aleppo. And they worked to figure out how do we mesh these two communities. But when they finally were able to really settle and have the two communities try to settle together, the old and the new, that the Sephardic, meaning the Spanish families, decided to light this extra candle on Hanukkah to commemorate that, wow, like we were in Spain, we thought, right, we were safe there, we're not there anymore, and now we're settled in this new place, in a new community. So that's a custom from the times of like right post the Inquisition. And maybe people can share if they have specific customs, that from their family. I'd love to see those in the chat as well, if you have customs about lighting from your family. I think we're going to pull up the berachot. I'm just going to note that I did light before with my family, so I'm going to say it without like God's name, but I'll just say it with everybody to help model. But it is on the board. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvah tzivanu lehadlik ner Chanukah. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu Elokeinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Maybe I'll get to see everybody's menorahs lit, whoever's lighting, if you can show us or have it be on the screen. So now that we've lit, I'm going to share some specific customs about Hag HaBanot or Eid al-Benat, but I would love to see, we'll come back to it towards the end, maybe we'll share some people's responses of those sparks that help keep us going. So there are some very interesting customs that have come up around Hanukkah as a women's holiday. There's lots of reasons for that. Women were very prominent in bringing about the miracle. So one custom that the Shulchan Aruch mentions, and actually the Ben Ish Chai said he used to give speeches before Hanukkah to the community that you have to be really, really strict about this custom, is that there's a custom just like on Rosh Chodesh, many women had this custom to not do extra work, not do housework, not do drudgery kind of work, to not do work on Rosh Chodesh. And also the custom as it's told is often like while the candles are burning to like not do work and just enjoy that time off. But actually in many North African and Sephardic communities, the whole first day of Hanukkah, or sometimes the first day and the seventh day of Hanukkah, women didn't do housework or didn't do the things that they would normally be doing and treated it as sort of like a mini special holiday. So that's a custom that lasted in many communities over the years. So Hag HaBanot is traditionally, again, with this connection with Rosh Chodesh as a women's holiday, is traditionally, as Ariela mentioned, later this week on Rosh Chodesh Tevet. Some people actually say it's because of Judith, the heroism of Judith, but I said it's a few months to Purim, but if you pay attention next time you read the Megillah, that Esther actually became the queen in the month of Tevet, is when she rose to power. And a lot of people make that connection of that bridging the heroism of Esther, that we can celebrate that on Rosh Chodesh Tevet, right? Because that's when she came into, like, for this moment that you were, right, became the queen, that's when she really entered into that moment. So there's so many amazing, women of history that we celebrate, but lots of North African communities, and this is really mostly in North Africa, in Morocco, Tunisia, Yemen, but actually also in Greek communities like Salonika and other Greek communities, developed lots of different customs. The main idea behind all of these customs is really to celebrate the community of women. The most sort of like general form that would take place is after candlelighting on the 7th night. So on the first night of Rosh Chodesh, that they would gather together in maybe like the matriarch's house, or they would gather together in someone's house. They would make special sweets. They would eat a lot of dairy because of Judith. They would make some special desserts. They would drink wine. They would sing songs. There's like a Ladino song about like your tia is gonna dance and your like abuela is like, so there's a lot of like, there's a few songs that lasted from that time. But that it was like a really special time for women to get together and celebrate each other. There's some more specific customs that like different communities developed to really focus on one community of women. So in some places, they actually focused on like the girls who were going to become Benot Mitzvah for that year, in Yemen in particular. And then they actually established it like in the mid 20th century when Bat mitzvah started to become a little more of like, oh, this is something we should maybe focus on. Also, there had been, unfortunately, some tragic events about some young women in the community. And they said, okay, you really need to like do something to lift up the young women in the community. So they made this Eid al-Benat the time where they would gather together, the Benot Mitzvah, and really celebrate all the girls who were going to be Bat Mitzvah that year. So that was in Yemen. In other communities in Morocco, in some communities, they would focus on the girls the women who had become engaged that year, that it was a special time to celebrate their engagement as like engaged but not yet married women. Sometimes they would get special gifts from their fiance or their fiance's family on this day. And then even maybe have the party be like, let's show off all these gifts and like celebrate the wedding on like pre-celebration, that they would sort of tie in the celebration of Eid al-Benat to this other later family celebration. In other communities, which I think is really fascinating, this one I think in Salonika and other Greek communities, is that Rosh Chodesh we often think of as like a renewed start. And some people have a custom actually to focus on reflection and use Rosh Chodesh as like a time to have to make teshuvah. So that these women would actually use this like joyous time as like a mini Yom Kippur, that they would make peace between each other, they would ask for forgiveness, and that they would like make it as a like, let's make everything right on this time. And then they could really celebrate more freely with open hearts because they weren't like holding on to anything. So that's another really beautiful custom. If anybody has, as somebody said, I'm just going to see if people... Yeah, so it's like a monthly renewal. So why on Hanukkah, we shared some of the ideas that it's right, the heroism of Yehudit, maybe Esther, the other women during that time. And also that it's like the Uber Rosh Chodesh of the year that we say a full Hallel. And it's like really like the combination of like Hanukkah and Rosh Chodesh is super celebratory. So I think Eid al-Benat is very special. It's not something that I personally grew up with in the Syrian community, but as I've learned more about it in North African and other communities, I think it's something that we can all learn from in a way to really connect with each other and hold each other up. And also just celebrate the heroism and just the amazingness of like everyday community.
Thank you so much, Rabbanit Victoria. That is just so inspiring and beautiful. And this idea of like the women coming together to lift each other up and to forgive each other. That's it's a really important one too. And to have that like special space It's so beautiful. And when we were talking about planning this program, we were like, how can we create that on the Zoom room together right now? And a big part of that was lighting candles with you and learning Torah from you. And we also were thinking, what if we do a little musical experience together, which does not mean anyone's going to have to come off mute and sing, particularly not me. And I'm not going to put you on the spot to sing either. Instead, we are going to play an amazing video that we found. It is from 1975. It is Ofra Chaza singing a song. The song is called Chanukah Chanchini, like my Hanukkah that is rededicated. I don't know if that's the best way to translate it, perhaps. Rabbanit Victoria, is that a familiar song? Oh yeah? Yeah, okay. So we're gonna play the video, and you can see her singing it and listen. And if you're very much invited, if you know the song, to sing along. If you don't know the song like me, you can dance along, anything you want in your space, because we're all in the same room together right now. Okay, so we're gonna pull up the video. You're ready. We'll stop the music there. Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Jordan. So if you weren't able to see it, we can send the video out in the follow-up, and then you can watch the whole thing, because there's other songs as well. There's all these different songs that are related to Hanukkah. So no worries if you couldn't see it, you can watch it from the video. But thank you for listening. I saw somebody say something about Israeli dance, and that sounded like Israeli dance music. So there's a big part of Israeli dance that is Yemenite dance, and so it totally does. I love that comment. Thank you. Give us a call to action, which is that Rabbanit Victoria mentioned this idea of reaching out to other women, and the women would come together. And so we're here together on Zoom, but we can even make our community bigger and also think of opportunities for us to connect with women that are not here tonight, and maybe women that we want to kind of reach out to because maybe things got a little tense and now's a nice time to soften that relationship. So we are going to ask and invite everybody to think about who is somebody that's not here right now, or that you want to text or call and reach out to in honor of Hag HaBanot, in honor of this beautiful holiday. So throughout the next few days, you can think about who's a woman, mother, sister, friend, aunt, anybody that you'd like to reach out to. And we're going to kind of do that as a community. And we're going to get back together again on Sunday night, the 21st, for the last night of Hanukkah, the 8th night of Hanukkah. And we have the opportunity to learn and light candles with Jane Shapiro. It's going to be a beautiful night. What a beautiful way to end Hanukkah, being together. So you can definitely think about who would you want to not only reach out to, but maybe also invite to join you and be together, whether you live in the same place or not, that last night of Hanukkah on Zoom with us. And in the meantime, between then and now, I invite you to please stay connected with us through our SVIVAH Facebook group. We love to show all different types of ways to share there. So bring yourself, bring your ideas, and any photographs are always welcome. Also, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. This is a little crazy, but we started this WhatsApp group called our LL WhatsApp group, but I couldn't stop posting. So I just wanted to keep being in touch with you. So now it's kind of changed into like a weekly Torah type of group where we put music and Torah, some poetry, different things that pop up. We have some opportunities for sharing, and it's just nice to connect there as well. And we're looking for names for our LL group, since that doesn't seem like the best name anymore. So if you have suggestions for what to rename our group, feel free to let us know. We'd love to hear your ideas. We want to thank you so much for being here with us tonight on this last night of Hanukkah. And we want to really thank Rabbanit Victoria for this beautiful teaching. It was just amazing to learn from you. And all the different things that you said are the sparks that you mentioned, right? What are the sparks we can take with us? I think all of the different pieces of the teaching are these gorgeous sparks that we can carry with us throughout the rest of Hanukkah and beyond.
Thank you for inviting me. I just wanted to mention that since you invited me, I invited my mom and my aunt and other family members on. So
that's amazing.
It's so great to celebrate together.
Oh, thank you. That's beautiful. And a little reminder also that the end of the year is coming. So if you can include SVIVAH in your end of the year donations, we'd be most grateful. It's been a hard year and we want to be able to keep doing all of this together. So feel free to go to the link that will be in the chat. And if you have anything that you can share with us, that would be wonderful. Remember, again, don't forget last night of Hanukkah, be with us and bring a friend. And if you're not rushing and you want to take 2 minutes to do a little Yemenite dance with me, that does not even involve standing up. We're going to do it in place with our hands. You're welcome. This dance is dedicated to Rabbanit Victoria's pastry chef abilities, because it's a dance about making malawach, which I'm sure you know how to do, but there's no food involved. It's all movement. I just need to put my computer in a place I'm not going to drop it. Okay. All right. So are you ready? So if you're staying, then I invite you to dance along if you'd like. If you need to go, we wish you good night and thank you so much for being with us. So I'm going to teach you the dance really fast and then we'll just put the music on and have a good time. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to knead the dough. So get your hands ready. We're going to knead the dough slowly and slow, and 4 quick ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then shake it out. And when you're dancing, you want to envision that you're wearing a big Yemenite headdress. So you can't go like this with your head. You can only go side to side because you can't lose your jewelry. Okay, so we do our kneads. We flattened our bread now, and now we're full of flour. So we have to wipe the flour off, and we're in the desert, so there's no water. We're going to wipe the flour on our clothes. Wipe 1 and 2, and wipe both hands. And now see if they're clean. So check that they're clean, show them to your friends, check and show, and check and show, and shake it out. Okay, now while the bread is rising, we need to do some schmoozing, which is too Ashkenazi for this, but we'll do it anyway. Talk to the people on your right. Talk to the people on your left. Go back to the first ones. And talk to yourself a little bit. And that's too much talking. Shh. Shh. Whole upper body. Shh. Okay, last piece. We need some dessert. Let's get some fruit. Got a basket. Pick some fruit. Pick some fruit. Oh, we dropped one. Let's go get it. Roll your hands up. And on the count of 3, do this for sure better than me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're going to put the music on. Jordan, thank you, Jordan. Perfect. Okay. All right, we're going to do the dance. Get ready. Get your hands ready. One. Okay, wishing you all. Thank you, first of all. Thank you, everybody, for dancing. I get to see so many dancers, so give yourselves a round of applause. That was amazing. Oh, we forgot the best part. You can taste the malawach if you want. That's the best malawach I can make. Next time we'll have a baking class and we'll actually learn how to do it for real. Okay, I want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah, Chag Sameach, everybody, and may we just have times of light and may we gather again together on the 8th night, Sunday night, And I hope to see you all soon. So be well.
Thank you.
And Chanukah Sameach. Laila Tov.
Hag HaBanot, everybody.
Like
Good night.
Chag Sameach. Thank you,